Welcome in to the STR podcast, otherwise known as the Start the Rebuild podcast. I am your co-host, Tim Fournier, alongside Ian Mills.
What's going on, guys? It is episode number 30, the Ken Griffey Sr. episode.
Obviously, Steph Curry, probably, I mean, I would say the most famous 30.
Yeah, for
Ken
sure. I mean,
Griffey's also pretty,
Ken Griffey Jr. is the more famous of the
right. Yeah,
of the
that's very
Griffey,
true.
but
I
I think
think
Ken Griffey Jr. did wear it on the Reds too, but that's
hmm,
besides the point.
I'm also gonna go with the Phillip Lindsay episode. I might have to find
Todd
that one.
Todd Gurley episode.
Oh, I literally have that jersey. I really should have gotten that one.
Todd
Philip
Gurley.
Lindsay isn't 30. I'm actually going to be really
I
upset.
think he is. I'm pretty sure he is.
Philip Lindsay is how you spell it. Yep. 30.
Yup, yup.
There's definitely
Um,
some ones that are just like blatant that we're missing. But, you know.
Terrell Davis. No,
Uh,
actually, I have no idea.
that,
Just a running back. You throw a running back out there, there's like a 1 in 10 chance you're right, honestly.
I feel like I can picture Terrell Davis in a 30. No? Anyway, whatever. Weekly shout out to Will Anderson. I'm not forgetting our most loyal follower, Will
My
Anderson,
favorite
the
person.
GOAT. I wonder if he ever commented on the last video and said what he thought his athlete career arc was like at the
I'm gonna
moment.
find that real quick because that's a good place to start. Um, because I would like to know who will has an opinion.
Yeah, look that up for me real quick.
I am one comment.
Yeah?
Okay, so here I don't. Whoa, it's a long comment. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, let's hear it.
From 6 days ago, Will the Thrill 359. See, the problem was I didn't call remains on the goalpost, so that was a my bad. If you recall, we were talking about the Syracuse uh beating Miami, and then they didn't take the goalpost down.
Mm,
Number 29's Cam Taylor Britz and Leon Hall.
okay.
Appreciate the love. How about a Giovanni Bernard or a Geno Atkins type of guy for my comp? Maybe Willie Anderson. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Love the LeBron arc for Meek. Few ideas for Tim. Let me know what you guys think. Lamar, dude killed it in college, had some doubts about his future post grad. Oh, I like that a lot, but is now MVP and performing at the highest level. That's a good one. That's a
Let's
really
go. Let's go.
PJ Washington at Kentucky was a post up player, and now he's slimmed down and has developed his game in every facet. That's also a good one.
Mm.
And then he goes, and then I'll throw in Vince Wilfork, and CJ Mosley in there for obvious reasons, he says.
Do you know those reasons?
No, I don't. I know CJ Mosley is next, and no, I don't know.
So I believe this is in reference to either freshman year football or like eighth grade football. When I kind of like moved from defensive tackle to playing middle linebacker, and then I just like looked like a like
A huge.
offensive guard playing middle linebacker.
Yeah,
And so then when I was like playing some D line, I was either gonna be playing, depending on the formation we are in, I was either the nose tackle or the middle linebacker. And
nice.
we just like I think we just had like some type of joke that like if CJ Mosley and Vince Wilfork combined,
Yeah,
that was my player archetype.
my player archetype in back in football was couldn't get any worse.
I
People,
think you were a
Kenny Stills.
yes, that was always the player.
Kenny Stills was
Kenny
always the guy.
Stills, deep threat.
Couldn't do anything but run in a straight line.
There you go. That's sometimes that's what you need.
That's
Every
what you.
team needs a Kenny Stills. Tell me
Yeah,
I'm wrong.
I don't disagree. The Bills don't have a Kenny Stills right now.
That's how you open up the run game. Everyone they getting too high because you're afraid of Kenny Stills.
Exactly. Play
Um,
action, throw it over the top.
Before we move on from that, though, I just want to give that a round of applause for the
Yeah,
comment
great
of the
job,
year,
Will.
probably, right? It's got to be. Best comment of all time, maybe? It's up
I'd
there.
say so.
At the
I'd say
yearly awards at the end of in our last episode of 2024, we'll
so.
mull over our options.
Yeah.
We'll vote. Um, so one thing I want to talk about that is also football related is Bill Belichick, UNC.
Oh yeah.
Isn't
Good
that
for him.
crazy?
I think that'll go well. I've seen a lot of people being like, "Oh, Bill's not ready for the college game. It's a different game than the NFL." And it's like, yeah, obviously it is, but at the same time, like Bill Belichick knows how to get, I think at least, he knows what it looks like to get to the NFL better than any college coach would.
Hmm. And
And
he's good
perhaps
buddies with Saban, so I think there's
he's good buddies with Saban.
some
That well, Saban left because of the way college football looks
also
now,
true. But there's some
partially.
elements of like dealing with 18-year-olds, I think,
Yeah.
probably.
I also think there's this idea that there's kids out there who only care, like they're in their mind, it's just about getting the most amount of money you can. And yes, that is a lot of what college football is become. But
Hmm.
that doesn't mean that there aren't a million kids who want to get to the league and will go to the place that is best suited for them to get to the NFL.
Yeah,
Now, is UNC going to take players away from Georgia and Alabama? No, probably not. Are they going to take players away from Clemson and other ACC teams? Probably, yeah. Like
probably.
I could see a kid. You look back 4 years ago, Cade Klubnik might not be a good example, but when you look at a guy like Cade Klubnik, he's had a fine college career, right? He's in the playoff this year.
Mhm.
But if you go back 4 years and it's like, okay, Dabo Sweeney or Bill Belichick to get to the league, to get to the NFL, you're going to go with Bill Belichick, and that's
Yeah.
no diss on Dabo Sweeney. He's a great college coach, but he doesn't use the transfer portal, and he's always going to be limited by that. And he does get guys to the NFL. He's gotten obviously Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson quarterbacks to the NFL, but like Bill Belichick is Bill Belichick. You know what I mean? Like there is, if you're caring solely about getting to the NFL,
Yeah.
that is enough. That
Like
is enough.
when you're the guy advocating for you in the draft is maybe the best coach of all time.
Yeah.
And him being like, yeah, this is an NFL type of play. Like that's a lot. Like even like
He
transfers from like small schools that ball out and they're like, oh, if I have a great senior year, like I could go to the league. Where what would help me the most to do that? Is it gonna be Bama where I might not play, or would I go to UNC, maybe play for Bill Belichick for a year, wear sick uniforms?
Yeah.
Like they're like a cool brand at the same time.
I also think like if you look at Bill Belichick's career, he was never a great drafter.
No,
Well, never
I
a great
I have
drafter.
something to talk about that too, but yeah.
He was never a great drafter in the early rounds.
Hmm.
At the very least, but he was great at finding the diamonds in the rough, right? Like he was
Hmm.
great at taking guys. I mean, Wes Welker and Julian Edelman are probably the best example, at least offensively, or at least the best known examples offensively.
Oh yeah, there's a million. And he's
I mean,
always taking
yeah,
a guy from the small school and
right, exactly, and I think that's gonna be incredibly beneficial. Like that's gonna be huge, and I don't know, like I can see it. Can I see a world where Bill Belichick is not willing to, uh, you know, treat 18-year-old kids or 19-year-old kids as if they're in the NFL? Because that's sort of, I mean, the way you're treating these college kids now is a lot differently than you were 10 years ago. I could see something like that happening, but man,
Mhm.
I don't know. Like if you're UNC, like this is why wouldn't you do this?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple like points I want to hit. First of all, he signed like a 5-year contract, which I feel like you have to, right? Because like I don't think this is a they'll probably be considerably better next year, but
Mm,
I don't think like what he's trying to like do and build is a 1-year thing.
no,
Um, so I'll be in, but he's also like what, like 70 years old.
72, yeah.
So like I don't know how that works. Like if because there is the whole aspect of like he's bringing in his son and he can kind of like maybe get it off the ground and get it rolling and then his son takes over and part of the reason he's doing it is to get his son like this opportunity, which I guess makes sense. And still like a worthwhile like roll of the dice for UNC, I think. The other thing that I thought was funny is this was just like a Bleacher Report notification, which like we all know how that goes.
Sure.
But it said like the big reason Belichick went to college was because he was sick of the NFL and like he said the headline was like disgusting like politics of the NFL. And it's like, dude, you like were the head coach and GM and sucked at being the GM for like 10 years.
Yeah.
you were literally the the law, he was like the end all be all. Like he was like literally essentially like the dictator of the Patriots other than Robert Kraft. Like he had more power than any coach like ever.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what he's like disgusted about politics wise because all of the politics he
Well,
did was benefit him.
I think the politics of it are more. Again, there were reports that came out that he was going to probably get the Falcons job, and then Robert Kraft called the Falcons owner Arthur Blank and was like, "Don't, don't give him the like he's horrible." And then he didn't get the job, and I don't know how true. I mean, like both of these reports, we have no idea how true either of them are.
Yeah.
So it's like you take it with a grain of salt. But like I think if I had to guess, the politics of it probably have more to do with him wanting to get away from a place where Robert Kraft has any power. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah, that's probably true.
Robert Kraft can't ruin his can't make a phone call and ruin his
Yeah, that makes sense. That
job
makes
offer.
sense. The other thing
So
I was confused about, and I'm looking up this article right here, and it says so he has like this like manual or like Belichick Bible or whatever that
yeah,
he like built out to like lead a college football team, whatever. And it says detailed in the manual reportedly calls for historic levels of investment from the school. His demands include salary minimums for all coaching positions, a separate recruitment staff led by a college general manager with buyout requirements, and sweeping changes to the program's operations. So obviously he's like trying to like overhaul it and have like a lot of money dumped into this thing. But the like none of those things sound like crazy to me. Like I feel like any like big time college program would have all of those things.
have that. Yeah. Well, two things.
They would have like I guess maybe not salary minimums, whatever, but they're paying their assistant coaches a lot of money, and then they have a separate recruiting staff, and then they have a college general manager. Like none of those things are different.
I agree. Well, two things. He did deny that this manifesto ever existed, and he said if that there was a manifesto, he was like, I wouldn't share it with anyone. And I was like, that's a good point. I was like, if you had
That
a
makes
manifesto,
sense.
you probably wouldn't tell anyone about it. But yeah, you're right. Like that's what you had. Like that's a pretty normal thing. Like
Like it would, yeah,
St. Bonaventure men's basketball has a general manager by the name of Adrian Morgan. Like this is a normal thing that happens
yeah,
in college sports now.
yeah. So I don't really know what like that. I don't know. Obviously, he has a lot of things, and if that's all they could pull out of it, like that, I don't think that was anything out of the ordinary.
No, I didn't think so either. I mean, yeah, Mike Lombardi, I think it was a report that he's going to be the general manager. He was like the old Raiders general manager back in like the
I don't think that
2000s,
long ago,
maybe.
right?
Not that, yeah, he's been all over the NFL.
Yeah.
He was a Patriots assistant or something like that at one point with Belichick. But yeah, I mean, I if you're North Carolina, I think it's a good like I don't see how this could go wrong only because what's the alternative, right? Like
Yeah.
you
I mean, I
the
feel
odds
like
of you
they should be able to like do so much better and recruit so much better. And I
yeah,
guess this is the swing. I don't know.
I don't know, it's like yeah, the odds of you hiring a coach like being the odds of North Carolina being like Indiana in hiring Kurt Signetti or a guy like Kurt Signetti hiring, you know what I mean? Like the odds of that working out, how many Kurt Signettis are in the FCS right now or in the group of five right now that willing and ready to go to North Carolina? Probably not a lot. And if they are, like there's still a good chance they might fail. Belichick certainly might fail, but it's like, yeah, he's a good coach. Like it's not at the
Yeah.
very least, he's gonna be able to coach well, and it's just wherever else. The other thing I was gonna say, it sucks that this happened now and not like at the beginning of Drake May's UNC.
Yeah. Imagine.
Because like I don't think there's any more Mays. I think Drake May was the youngest May. Like I think that the UNC is out of the May family. There's no more
Dude,
May.
imagine if you had coached Drake May and then the Patriots drafted him.
I know. Well, he might have like Belichick might have like told every single coach or every single team in the league, "Hey, draft this guy," except the Patriots. He might have told the Patriots, "No, don't draft." Like just out of spite for Robert Kraft.
Yeah, or been like Drake, like deny everything to go
Yeah,
like
Drake,
yeah,
don't. Yeah,
like say
yeah, like
no.
yeah.
Like
I don't know.
pull Eli.
Yeah. Speaking of Eli,
Imagine.
I not to talk too much about college football, but I was talking about this a while ago. Arch Manning,
Hmm.
he's obviously going to be, well, maybe not obviously, but he's going to be Texas's starter next year. Quinn Ewers is
Yeah.
going to go to the draft. You
Or
would think.
like, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, you would think, or if you're Texas, you might say, hey, man, if you're not going to the draft, you can't be here.
Yeah.
That's all speculation. My point, I guess, is though, Arch Manning is going to have so much power, I think, in terms of where he go, assuming he's going to be a high draft pick, which I guess is not a certainty at this point. He could bust or he could be bad next year and
Hmm.
nobody wants to draft him. He's going to have so much power, I think, where he's going to go. If you look at obviously Eli Manning, everybody knows the story of Eli Manning. Oh, forced his way out of San Diego, he got traded by the Giants because his dad didn't want him to be drafted. The same thing, not the same thing, but a very similar thing happened with Peyton Manning, and nobody talks about it. Peyton Manning stayed an extra year to go to Tennessee for a fourth year because he didn't want to be drafted by the Jets. And I think and his dad didn't want him to be drafted by the Jets. If there is a single family in football that has the power or wherewithal
Decide, yeah.
to basically be like, no, that's a bad organization. Don't go there. It is the Manning family.
Yeah.
Arch Manning, if he balls out next year, he'll literally his third year out in college, right? So he could go, right? Or am I making that up? That's his third year.
I think
Because
you're
he redshirted last year, he played a little bit this year, and then next year
right. Yeah.
will be his third year. So he could leave college football next year.
I think we might start seeing quarterbacks do that more because we're seeing all these guys like
Yeah.
that are so highly touted and they go to a shitty organization and then they
Right.
flame out, or even guys that did that and then circle around somewhere else and become good. And it's just like,
Yeah.
wow, I guess it really was just the organization.
And if you look, I agree. So, but if we jump ahead a year, who do
Hmm.
we think's me picking a quarterback at the top of the first round? Not this season, but next season. Well, let's think about who's picking that. Like the Raiders will pick a quarterback this year. The Giants will pick a quarterback this year. Um, but the following year, I could see the Panthers giving Bryce Young another year this season,
Oh yeah, I think he
and then
definitely should and
he's
probably
definitely
will.
earned it, right? He's definitely been good enough. Well, let's say they keep him one of the year, and then it was like, oh, actually, it turns out Bryce was bad, and maybe he was just a flash of the pan, whatever. Then they're picking first overall again next year. Do you think like the Mannings are not going to let Arch Manning go to the Carolina Panthers? There's
Yeah,
no, I
probably not.
don't think, you know,
Probably not.
I don't like,
I think the one that makes a lot of sense, like obviously this is projecting so far out into the future, is the Saints finally blow everything up, suck again, and then like the Arch Manning grandpa
yeah.
who played for the Saints would be like, yes, I like that organization.
But didn't the Saints
I
weren't the
don't know.
Saints? I'm trying to weren't they really
Did he like
bad?
end poorly with them or something?
I don't know if he ended poorly with them, but
It was also at this point, how freaking long ago? 50 years ago?
that's true. I mean, it might be different owners. I don't know, but he had him and Derek Carr have the most losses of any quarterback. In terms of winning percentage, minimum a certain amount of games
Hmm.
because they were constant. He was constantly on a bad team. It was them and the Oilers. I forget which one he broke the record with, but I don't know. I could see the Saints. Could you, in a reasonable world, see the Buccaneers? I mean, Baker's great. They just signed him, so maybe not. I guess they did just sign him, but injury. I mean, not. To, I'm not gonna project injuries, but an injury for any team could throw them into a spiral
Yeah.
and
I
force
think
them to
I think
forget everything.
Gino's contract is up in
True.
I think this is the first year of his new contract.
I think it's the second year. I'll look it up. I believe it's his second of what, 3 years or no?
Yeah, I think he signed a 3-year contract. So if this is I think it's the second year too. So if it's the second year and next year's up, but the Seahawks have like a decent infrastructure where they might not be like number one overall pick bad. I don't know.
I mean,
But
it's
he's
also
also
possible.
like 34.
It's also possible Arch Manning won't be the first overall pick. Like,
Yeah, I don't think he's like looked like he's got tools and obviously he's got the family lineage to
yeah, he's
like
got 2025.
a lot of, help with that stuff, but I don't think he's like people all just assume he's going to be.
Right. Also, though, if he
I don't think he's
isn't
proven or
like
anything yet.
if he's good next year, if he's good enough to be a first round pick next year, but not the first overall pick next year, he might just stay another year to
Maybe,
to see if he can't be like, you know what I mean? Like he might do the
maybe.
I don't know. I feel like that's happened. I don't know. We're speculating. I guess the point was is like, hey, who could reasonably be the first overall pick in 2025, and would Arch Manning or would the Manning family want Arch Manning to go
Dude,
to
it could
that team?
end up being like the Jets, and then they're just like, no, no
No, yeah,
shot.
hell no. That's very true.
It literally could be.
It could be the nine. I mean, the Niners are going to sign Brock Purdy probably, so probably not the Niners.
You would think.
You would think they would.
Who
We'll see
knows?
what Kyle Shanahan has to say.
I feel like a lot of these other teams are like pretty set at quarterback that aren't. I mean, that's what I probably would have. You probably would have said the same thing 2 years ago. Or
Steelers.
at
I
least
mean,
I don't feel like there's a lot of like really old quarterbacks.
oh, the Rams. Matt Stafford's
Yeah.
getting up
And
there
the Rams would be the type of team to just like trade 4 first round picks too.
to get Arch Manning. Yeah.
Yeah. If like the Jets were at 1 and Arch like refused to go there
Yeah.
and they had to sell the first overall pick, like the Rams could be a team that would just like give them the farm because they're
Damn.
aggressive like that. I
Oh
kind of
man,
like that. And then the Mannings would love that because he's going with McVay.
West Coast. Where's Omaha Productions take place? I don't know. I actually have no idea.
There you go.
But
Boom. So
Omaha is
that's
in
where he's going.
Nebraska.
Arch Manning to the Rams, bucket,
I
STR,
like that. I'm
stamp of
calling it.
approval.
I'll go Rams. I'll put my money in the Rams.
Dude, we should bet on it. All right, complete topic change. This is what I'm always good for, right? Um, so I've been making some sports betting content a little bit, and I'm starting to get like a bunch of these accounts like reach out to me and offer to like pay me to like support their like to promote their like product.
Discord. Yeah.
Yeah, like their Discord or there's this one company that I don't know if you've seen it before, but like instead of betting on like players game by game, you like buy their stock and then like based on how the players do, you can like it's like the stock market if you like bought shares of LeBron and then he wins a championship, his
Hmm.
stock would go up and then you could sell your shares, which is kind of a cool concept. And I've seen it a bunch and they reached out to me and they were like, would you be interested in being compensated for like making 3 posts about us? And I was like, and I wanted to get your opinion on like, I don't know. I've been making sports betting content just because like I think it's fun and I throw like $5 on this stuff, but I'm trying to be
Yeah.
careful of not like advising people what to do with their money. And like I feel like if I started like going like all in on that and like getting paid for it, like I don't know. I feel like something's like morally maybe a little off there.
I hear that. I mean, I don't know exactly who these people. Obviously, I don't have no idea who these people are. But my whole thing is like, I've we've talked about sports gambling on this podcast before. I dabble. I've
Sure.
dabbled in sports gambling, but sports gambling is an insanely like predatory like business. I
Yeah.
think we can both agree on that.
Yeah.
Insanely much so. And so for me, I'm always weary of like I hate like the fact that we have a million commercials all the time
Mhm.
about DraftKings or whatever, and we get the constant like if you have whatever app you have for gambling, you get a million push notifications a day from that app.
Yeah.
And like all these things and it's like for the most part it people like not for the most part like almost everybody loses money on gambling like
Mhm.
it's you know what I mean, so I'm always very weary of like trying to push. I think it's fun, and I when I do it it's like I'm okay with losing this money, this small amount of money, because I think I could make I think it's I think it does I think it's fun, but
Yeah.
also it's
And then it's entertainment.
right.
Like it's
So
disposable income, not like you're trying to make money.
yeah, but if anyone's ever like, oh, should I get into sports gambling? I'm always like, Probably not. I'm always like, don't, honestly, for the most part, no, it's not a good thing. So I'm always very weary of it, but so it is like, and I don't know, like if this is really answering your question, but it's like, yeah, like I morally feel weird about stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, if you're advertising to adults, they have their own consent to do whatever they want to do with
Yeah,
these things. Um,
it's tough, dude.
it is, and it's like I always, it's tough. It's
Now I'm
hard to,
being like offered something in return. Even like, so I've been posting like fitness content mostly for a while. And
yeah.
it's I posted on the same account. At this point, I just like post whatever I want to post.
Hmm.
And now it's gotten to the point where I like gained so many followers from when I sports bet
Yeah.
that like I've like quadrupled my following. And but now every single time I post something fitness related, I lose followers.
Yeah.
And people will be like, dude, like I don't care about this at all. Like I just want to know what you're thinking for the game on Thursday night. And
I'm
they'll like
actually,
follow.
yeah.
So like literally today, I posted a preview of Thursday night and I tried to start shying away from like this is the exact line that I'm betting on, like I want the over, and rather just kind of like analyze the game and like think and like say who I think is going to have a good game, and then you can kind of
Yeah.
like make your own decisions.
Yeah.
But that's where I've started to try. I started to kind of go that way. But dude, it's crazy. Like
Sports
today,
gambling.
I posted a video and it gets like, I don't know, 8, 10,000 views, and I've gained like 30 or 40 followers today. And but literally going into today, I think it was maybe yesterday or the day before, I posted something fitness related and I lost 20 followers.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty confident that if I just posted sports gambling content every day, I could be gaining like 50 plus followers a day and, like build the account to like something substantial. But it's like, do I want to do that through solely sports betting? I don't know.
Right.
Ideally, because I do enjoy it. Like, I think it's fun to talk about, fun to analyze and stuff like that. And I like talking about it. Like, it would just like, I would just find more people like me that have the shared interest of fitness and sports
Yeah.
analysis.
Yeah.
Like, ideally, that would just be like the neat, the niche.
Yeah.
But I don't know. So now, like, when I was posting just the sports stuff for a while, I went from sub 2,000 followers to now like approaching 8,000.
Yep.
And then now it's just like halted because I started posting more fitness stuff again. And now it's like 50-50. And now it just like goes like this.
I actually was literally just looking at your account, and it is like, yeah, the numbers, the difference of the numbers of like when you post.
Hmm.
The last fitness thing you post, I guess is, I don't know if you consider this fitness or not. I don't know. But the diet soda thing and the
Yeah.
comments are just like hashtag aspert or
Yeah.
aspartame.
It's just whatever.
Um, but we gotta talk about that because I want to get your take on diet soda in a minute.
Okay,
But
we will. But do you have any thoughts on like,
well, my thing is, and it's unfortunate because we both, I mean, obviously you post on Instagram and TikTok, and you've created this following that you mentioned, and I work in sports media in a different sense, but still it's sort of,
they're
I do work,
adjacent? Yeah.
they're in a similar
Yeah.
path. And it does kind of kill me a little bit how sports media is basically like converging with sports betting media in the same,
Hmm.
like almost one for one. Like they're almost
Yeah.
getting to a point where you can't consume one without the other.
Hmm.
And I think it's creating, as you said, like you're getting a huge following, or a bigger following from this, and that's good. And there's a lot of money that's going into sports media via gambling and via betting companies, which
Hmm.
in theory is like a good thing for the people you know, making sports media content or working in sports media, I should say. But there is a point where we have to be like, well, is why are like this money is coming from, you know, preying on people with addiction in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what
But I
I
think what you
struggle.
said Do you know who Ben Solak is?
Yes.
Okay, so Ben Solak worked for The Ringer for a
Mm.
long time. I don't think he ever did much gambling content when he was with The Ringer. I don't know for sure, but I don't think he tweeted about it. But now he works for ESPN. ESPN obviously has ESPN Bet. They have their money in gambling. And so he's tweeted more about gambling now. But from what I can gather, it's more about sort of what you have been describing of, hey, here's what's going to happen in this game.
Yeah.
And if you want to, here's what I think is going to happen in this game based off of tendencies of each team.
Yeah.
And
Because
then
that's
the
the
outcome
information
of
that
that
people
is
want.
right, and then the outcome of that is
They're going to bet on it.
you're going to bet on it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so, like, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that because, as I said, like, they're almost the same thing now. So it's hard to avoid, like, you know what I mean? If you're simply giving someone, hey, tonight's what game? The 49ers versus the Rams, right?
Yeah. So the video I made today, for example, was like, what I said was, here's the Rams and the 49ers are playing. The 49ers are favored by 3, and the total is 49.5. In their last 10 meetings, they've been under this total. So I think it's going to be lower scoring than normal. Also because the 49ers have the most time between uh plays in the entire league, and their bottom 10 in plays run. So you might be thinking, oh, this is going to be a super high scoring game because both teams scored 38 plus points last week. But in
Mhm.
reality, they are like division rivals that know each other really well. It's probably going to be more low scoring. Um, and then it was like breaking down man and zone coverage breakdowns where the Rams run the fourth most zone in the league. And the receiver on the 49ers that gets the biggest benefit from that is George Kittle. His target rate goes up by 10%. So I think it's going to be lower scoring, and George Kittle is going to have a big game.
Mhm.
People are probably going to take that as I'm betting, I'm slamming the under, and I'm hitting
Right.
on all of George Kittle's props,
Right.
which is like better than saying like I am betting the under and take George Kittle
Yeah.
over 4.5 catches and over 68.5
Yeah.
receiving yards, but it's kind of leading to the same thing.
Right. But I think it
At least I'm allowing people to make their own decisions. I'm just
right.
like
I mean,
saying that.
it goes back to what we were saying with these two different mediums converging and it may like what you're doing is inherently just like regular sports media. Hey, here is the breakdown of the game. The thing that's existed for the since the dawn of sports.
Right.
And then there's this other group of sports media or sports betting media where people will be like, guys, I'm 10-0-1 in my last 11 bets. Like,
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
trail me right now. And people are converging the two. And it's like, no, they are different. They are different, but
Mhm.
they're sort of this gray area
Yeah.
where if you're doing sports media now, if you're doing regular sports media now, people can kind of take it as sports gambling. And
Yeah.
yeah, like even if you say, I don't think there's anything wrong with that specifically because like when I'm doing work, I did a story this week about basically, hey, like the Bills defense, like I did a story where I'm like, hey, the Bills defense isn't good. I was basically just, or not good. It's fine. Like basically, it's fine. Like it's not great. It's not as good as we think. It's actually just fine. It just really heavily relies on a great offense and B they have an insane turnover ratio, by far the best in the NFL.
Hmm.
That helps the defense a lot. And it's like that is just sports media, right? And what you're doing is the exact same thing. Hey, here are things that you've studied about a game or read about a game via PFF or I
Hmm.
think that's what you use, right? PFF.
Yeah, I mostly use that in Pro Football Reference, just like general stats.
Yeah. So that is that's there's nothing like I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with that. And then
I
yeah, but
get
there's always going to
DMs
be
all
the
the
people of
time of
right.
people. Sometimes it's just like fantasy related, and they're like, "I got these three guys. Who do you think is going to have the best game out of the three?" And I'm happy to answer. I'll be
Yeah.
like, I'm never like so confident where I'm like lock this person in, but I'm like, I kind of think this because of this. That's my feelings, but like if I'm confident in it or not, I say that. Um, but I've also gotten DMs where it's like, I got this one crazy DM from this dude that was like, I was up 30K last month and I'm down 50K this month. and here are my last 10 bets, and they were a bunch of parlays and they kept missing by one. Do you have like a perfect like extra leg to this parlay? Do these look good? And I literally said to the guy, like, if you are down that much money, I do not feel confident. I do not feel comfortable advising you either way. I wish you the best of luck. Like that's literally
Yeah.
what I said to him. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like sit here and say like I'm just like providing analysis that I like enjoy about this game. I obviously know there's a little bit of a betting slant, but if you're down $50,000, I am not
Stop betting.
advising you at all.
Stop betting. Stop betting.
Yeah,
And
like
that's,
stop.
dude, it drives me crazy because I like you listen to any podcast and you listen to any watch any game and then you can't avoid it. And it's there are so many people out there who will think it's not a big deal and will, there's people who will never bet a day in their life, and that's
Yeah.
perfect and they shouldn't. But then there's so many people who are so enamored with it and you can't avoid it. And it's like every single podcast you listen to, they'll be giving this all this betting advice, and then a lot of people will be like, just so you know, like, I'm an idiot, like, I don't actually know what I'm talking about, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But then their ad will be like, well, $1,000 free bet coming up if you signed up right now with three
Mhm.
friends and whatever, and
Yeah.
then like they'll have the tag like 1-800-GAMBLER, and it's like, God, do we not see the irony in what we're doing? It's like,
Yeah. That's why I also end all of those videos with like, tail this at your own risk.
yeah,
That's what I say at the end of every video.
I'll put like 20 bucks a week on Thursday Night Football, and it's just like,
Yeah, I normally throw like I'll like make those things, and obviously there's like bets that kind of go along with my analysis, and I'll bet $5 on like four different things.
yeah.
So I bet $20. And
I
like I'm most of the time I don't lose all four. And then it's like, okay, I either like lose $5 or I make 5 or 10. It's just like not a big deal to me, but I know there's people out there that are not betting like responsibly, which is
I
where I'm
was
like, is this okay? Like, should I stop? I don't know.
I don't think you should stop. I mean, you're
I'm
literally
towing a
like,
line. I'm just trying to not go too far in
yeah,
the
I
one
mean, yeah,
direction.
I think being the fact that you're aware of it's a great thing because most people would who would be aware of it would be like, oh, I can make an insane amount of money off of this. Let me capitalize in profit. And I think it's good and it says a lot about you that you aren't doing that.
And I get
Uh
DMs all the time now too of like, dude, I shared your page with like all of my buddies at work and we like tail it and talk about it at work. And I'm like, that's kind of crazy. That's kind of cool. But like also like I would feel very bad if you're all betting a bunch of money and losing a bunch of money.
yeah.
I literally had people when I went home for Thanksgiving. I like went out the night before, and people from high school, and they're like, "Dude, I take your like betting advice and like fantasy advice." And I'm like, "Oh, so you're not doing well?" And they're like, "Well, no, but like I like it." And I'm like,
That's
and
it's
I'm
so
like,
funny, dude.
"Cool."
I I'll give you a short story. When I was working in Binghamton, I was covering Binghamton men's basketball a lot.
Yeah.
I would get DMs of people asking me about the availability of players on the Binghamton men's basketball team because they were going to be gambling on like Binghamton versus U Albany. And they were like, guys, they're like, if so and so is playing, the line's going to flip flop the other. What do you know? What do you know? And I'm like, half the time I might not know something, or if I did know something, it'd be pretty much exactly what the general public would know. And I'm like, dude, if you're gambling, all due respect, stop gambling on mid-major, low-major men's basketball,
I
Binghamton
know.
versus
I struggle with it too because it's like if you're like going to the game too or you're watching the game with your friends
right. If
and
you're
it's
at a
gonna
game, it's
add to the
different.
experience having fun with your friends if you put $5 on Binghamton money line, like
Well, that's
like
whatever.
like
Then
that's like fun. Like and I think like why not? If that's gonna enhance your experience
yeah,
and you're gonna have more fun, then like why not? But like you have to be smart.
yeah, and
You have to be not dumb,
you have to be not
really.
which is very hard for a lot of people. You know what I mean? It's like once you introduce something that's highly addictive into a group of people, like it's so easy to be like, all right, guys, like be cool about it. Don't like it's like introducing it's like giving a bunch of 16-year-olds like unlimited supply of like alcohol and being like, all right, guys, be cool with like be smart with it. Don't
Yeah.
be
And I
dumb.
also know me stopping posting videos is not gonna make people stop
No,
gambling.
no,
So
of
if I'm
course
just
not.
like giving them information to like make their own decisions, maybe that's not the worst thing. I don't know. I still feel weird about it. And it's just weird because I've been like trying to grow a platform for so many years and now I have this route.
Yeah,
that would allow me to grow it. Like I'm pretty confident that if I just like found a way to post videos about that type of related stuff daily, like I would probably be able to grow decently fast. And
for
I've
sure.
never been able to say that. So it's like it's just a tough like moral thing for
I
me.
don't think there's anything wrong with what you're doing, but yeah, I understand. I do understand when you're getting DMs like that and you're
Yeah.
getting messages like that, it's got to be tough because you don't want to feel like you had it played any part in someone losing
Yeah.
tens of thousands of,
Yeah.
because whatever.
I know.
Uh,
And like that company that DM'd me, like I've seen a lot of people promote it before. Like it is like a decently well-known thing within the like
you have
that.
to send it to me. You have to send it to me after because I'm sure
Yeah, I
I
can
never
look up the
heard of
name
it,
of it
but
right now. It's called it is called Prediction Strike. But and it's a cool concept. And I have a Zoom meeting with them next week and I'm gonna like ask them all of these same things pretty much.
yeah.
Um and at least listen to what they have to say, but I like if DraftKings
Oh, okay, I have seen
or
this.
something like came went into my DMs and was like, if you, I don't know, like for every post you make about us, we'll give you this X amount of money. Like, is it morally wrong for me to do that? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
I'd be
know. I
lying
think
if I said I didn't feel some type of like hesitancy, which
right,
maybe is
for
my
sure.
answer. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair though. Like, I'm glad that you'd have some type of hesitancy. It's tough because again, it goes back to what we were talking about, where like there's a difference between what you're doing and like these people who are like, tell me, I'm 10-0, I'm 10-1,
Yeah, like pay me
I'll
to
go
join my
5.
Discord while I have where I have all of my picks, and you're gonna make this amount of money.
Yeah, and there's a difference between what you're doing and that. But like it almost gets lumped in together, and it sucks because it's like that's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean,
Stuff.
it is tough. There's no right answer. It's just again, it goes back to like the fact that I think it sucks that sports gambling has sort of like taken over in terms of
Hmm.
sports media, and it's like you can't get you don't get people's genuine you don't get I mean, not that we're getting analysis from like first take, real analysis from like first take, but like it's all about who's gonna win what bet now, and it's like that sucks. It's almost become like like fantasy. People thought Austin Eckler was like the greatest running back of all time because he was always like RB1 in fantasy, and it's like oh he was fine, like he wasn't bad, he just was like he wasn't as good as
He's
he
gonna
was.
catch like 8 passes a game and then
He
like
would
get
have
like
like a
one
million
carry.
1 yard rushing touchdowns. Like I don't know, was he ever the best running back in football? No, but
Right. Right. Yeah. It's
yeah.
it's tough. And I'm trying to find out how to toe the line, you know?
I think you're doing it well. I mean, I think you're doing it well. I think keep doing what you're doing. I mean, like don't let people like if you want to do fitness content and diet soda content, then do it. And if people unfollow you, then they unfollow you. Like you know what I mean? Like it's almost that point. Like you can't pretend to be something you're not. You can't like
Mhm.
if you enjoy whatever you enjoy doing most, just keep doing it. And
Yeah,
I
that's
think
ultimately where I've landed.
there's going to be a group of people who include me who find it entertaining and who like it and who are going to watch it anyways and who aren't going to unfollow. I'm
Hmm.
not just saying because I'm your friend, but like I do think there's an avenue out there. Like, yeah, I was making fun of these people who were going crazy about gambling on Binghamton men's basketball, but like there's a million people out there who found that niche and are have thousands of followers and have jobs to basically track that type of thing. And it's like
Hmm.
something out there for everyone. And I wouldn't get bogged down in the details of, well, I'm losing 10 followers when I post about Aspert's lame.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Like it sucks to get those comments because it's just like, dude, I'm just like posting whatever I want to post. Like
Yeah.
I just do whatever. But where I've landed is just like that's what I'm gonna keep doing.
Yeah.
And whatever happens, happens. So you wanted to ask me about diet soda?
Yeah. Well, no, because I'm a big diet soda guy.
Yeah.
Not a big diet soda guy, but like I've never not never, but I basically never drink regular soda. Like I haven't had regular soda
Yeah.
from my knowledge in years. So
Hmm.
whenever I drink soda, I drink like diet soda.
Hmm.
And I'll do like Fresca, big into Fresca.
Sure.
As I know you posted about Fresca before.
That's just goated.
Why do people hate diet soda so much?
Well, there was a study that came out like a long time ago about like aspartame and how it's really bad for you and like can cause a lot of like bad things. But they
Mhm.
did the test on like rats. And
Yeah.
if you like looked into the study, not that I've like actually like researched the study, but I've seen a lot of videos on it. So this is what I'm going off of. And like if you like equalize the amount of aspartame that you would need to have in your body to like equal the like bad dosage that they gave to rats, you would need to have like 25 Diet Cokes a day.
Damn.
And so as long as you're not doing that, there's no problem. And it's been like very well researched since that like yes, it's bad for you in like mega doses, but if you're
Yeah.
not drinking 25 cans a day, then you're fine. There's even been studies where like in terms of the just like fixation of like having like something to taste and like carbonation and whatnot, people who have um completely replaced their water intake with only diet soda have lost weight because of the like um
But
calories that they're replacing with diet soda, which is like zero essentially from like their normal like soda consumption. And
mhm.
also just replacing water with diet soda like made them less like hungry slash you feel like you need to snack on something. And the trade-off of losing weight, especially depending on what your basis is, what you're coming from, is going to far outweigh in terms of a health benefit anything negative that you would get from diet soda. I'm not gonna sit here and say it's like healthier than water at all, but I don't think there's anything wrong with like having diet soda even every day.
Yeah.
And but like I said, like there's better things for you to drink, but like if it also then allows you to not overeat or eat like a bag of chips you replace with a 0 calorie diet soda,
Right.
like that's healthier for you.
Yeah,
So it has a place. And for me, like I'm trying to diet down a little bit, and lose some weight, and it like helps me a lot to have a diet soda. Where like when I'm craving something to eat, I'm not necessarily really hungry, but I'm just like I have a craving, and then I can just have a diet soda, and that allows me to wait another hour or two before I eat, and I don't eat anything else. Like that's helpful for me and like what my goal is.
for sure. No, because my family was always, but my mom would always buy diet soda. And again, we didn't drink like an insane amount of soda by any means, but since I've returned back to uh Rochester, my mom is big into Fresca, I've learned.
Sure.
And like I'll have it and like, dude, I mean, I know you posted about it, but like it is great. Like Fresca is actually like fantastic.
Yeah.
Uh, and so I'm like, what?
No caffeine either. So
I'm
like
like,
that's the
why?
other thing is you have to like be careful of like
True.
those randomly have like 75 grams of milligrams of caffeine. And then like that's not necessarily good for you to have, especially if you have it like later in the day and then it screws up like your sleep quality and that's not good for you. But there's a lot of diet soda that has no caffeine.
I drink so much caffeine. That's probably honestly the worst thing not the worst thing I do, but it's one of my bad vices where I'm like, do I drink so much coffee? All black coffee, admittedly, but
Sure.
it's like,
There's worse things out there. And like I go back and forth on stuff on that. Like there's a massive wave of like eating everything like organic and natural. And I think that's what you should be doing most of the time. But like if you're trying to lose weight, like we've evolved as like humans to where we I think should use some of the things we've created to our advantage. Like
for
right
sure.
now, like I eat like really good like whole foods, like I don't know, like ground beef, steak, eggs, fruit, all this stuff. And then it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna have a piece of toast with my eggs in the morning and I'm trying to lose weight. We as humans have created, a slice of bread that's 35 calories that saves me 100 calories, where if I just had like a normal piece of bread,
Right.
like if I'm trying to diet at this specific time, like I might as well use the advantages we've grown to like into since we were like Neanderthals.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a balance to it. That doesn't mean like your entire diet should be like these like 5,000 ingredient like man-made things. Like you should still like base your diet off of real food,
Right.
but like there's some things that can help aid that, and they should be like supplemental to your diet, not every
Yeah.
single meal is, like egg whites for protein and, like low carb bread and you only drink diet soda. Like I don't think that's healthy, but like
Yeah, that
it's a
makes sense.
balance too, because if you're 30 pounds overweight and eating a lot of those foods helps you lose 30 pounds, that's going to do a lot more for you
Being 30 pounds overweight.
than being 30 pounds overweight, but eating like perfectly healthy foods.
Yeah. Yeah, I've gotten to a point where I'm like, again, I've lost a lot of weight in the last year plus.
Hmm.
And I was such like I almost like didn't care about ingredients. I basically was just like calories and carbs. Was like tried to limit carbs, and calories were pretty much the only thing I tracked in terms of what I ate. Or
Hmm.
how I lost weight was
Yeah.
basically calories, but the only thing I tracked, and always wanted to be in a deficit, or for the most days wanted to be in a deficit.
Hmm.
And like, yeah, I went from I was the highest I ever was 228, and now I'm 175. Again,
Yeah.
that was over the course of a long time. And it wasn't just because of calories. Obviously, a lot, there's a lot of ways to be in a deficit. But um, yeah, and then now it's like I'm at a point where I'm like, oh, like I lost this weight. I want to maintain the weight I'm at.
Hmm.
And so now I'm at a point where I'm like, I probably should care more about what I'm putting in my body as opposed to necessarily all of the calories, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Now I'm at a point now that I've lost the weight, I'm almost like, okay, now am I like what am I eating? What am I
Hmm.
eating, and not maybe caring as much about calories.
Yeah. That's the thing, right? Because at the end of the day, what's going to make you lose or gain weight is the calories you're eating and
Yeah.
burning. But there's a lot of things you can do it healthier, and there's a lot of things you can do to make it easier.
Yeah.
Like um getting like the right amount of dietary fats, like from eggs or red meat or anything like that, is going to help a lot in terms of like keeping your hunger hormones in check and all that stuff. Eating enough protein is going to keep you fuller and help you maintain muscle.
Yeah.
Um, like so it's there's like I like see so many videos about this, and it's like a never ending thing where like at the end of the day, calories in and calories out is what matters the most. But to like be on top of that and um like sustain whatever your goal is, there's a lot of things you need to do and focus on in order to make that easier and also make that sustainable over a long period of time. Because no matter what your goal is, it's probably gonna be something that you have to kind of do day in and day out for a while.
Yeah. I
So
think it's a good place now. Now you got to head out. So when we call it
goals
an
next week.
31 possibly in person pod.
Yes, that's the plan. But goals next week, real quick.
Oh, goals next week. Finish Christmas shopping. Want to do that done early?
There you go.
I've been dragging my feet with Christmas shopping so badly
Hmm.
this year, but I want to figure that out. I'm gonna get that done. How about yourself?
Well, I go back home Monday. I want to get a good start on this thing I'm doing. I'm getting an Excel certification through Microsoft, and I have to go through a bunch of these like modules and like teaching things to like study for the test. And that's like my goal over break is to get my certification. So big goal is to get a good start on that and like have a set plan to make sure that I have that by the end of break.
Nice. It's exciting.
That's my goal. That. All right. Well, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, hit that bell. We will be back next week, hopefully in person, but we'll make it happen one way or another.
Yes,
There
we
it
will.
is, the Ian Rizface, and we'll see you in episode 31. All right,
Can't even.
everybody. Peace out.
Jarris Bird? Did Jarris Bird worth 30?
Jairus 31.
The Jarris Bird episode coming up.
I think he wore 31. All right,
All
someone
right.
fact check us. All right, peace out, everybody.